Hello appraisers, this is Brandon with Spark for Appraisers, and in this Synapse Spotlight video, we're going to be covering how to modify what results are shown in each of these widgets here for a feature that you're analyzing. First of all, by results, what we mean are a calculation. So these dots, each dot is a result here of a mathematical calculation on whatever data sets you've uploaded. So right here, we've got regression, group data, paired sales, and so on. And what you see here, for example, as I'm looking at the full bath feature that we're analyzing and trying to come up with an adjustment for, is I've got a bunch of results that are right around the $7 to $15,000 range, but then I have a whole bunch that are also up here that are well over $40,000 for a full bath. And for this particular property, these numbers are crazy high, outrageously high, and I really don't even want to see them because they shouldn't be included. I don't want to place any weight or consideration on those. So we do have settings that allow you to control that. And the same thing with negatives. We also have settings that allow you to control not seeing negative results like you see down here, for example, with the gated community adjustment analysis here. So how do we do that? First, you click the gear icon, then you click session settings, and then exclude results settings. That brings you to this screen, and this is where you can actually customize things. So first of all, if you want to exclude negatives, that is this checkbox right here. So you turn this on and off. And by the way, there's a little comment here that explains exactly what's going to happen based on how you have this set. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier. And if you don't see a particular feature in here that you want to customize, that means it belongs down at the very bottom in all other features. But if you want to rip it out of there and have its own custom setting, then you just click add setting. You find the one you want to customize, like let's say exterior features, and then you hit done, and then that will show up in alphabetical order here, exterior features, and now I can go in here and customize this however I want to. So how does the customization work? Well, like I said, first of all, you can check this box to exclude any negative results if you know that there shouldn't be any. And what that means also is that those results will still show up in Synapse. You just won't see them as dots on the screen. I'll show you in a minute where you can see those. And they also will all go into your digital work file. So even if you exclude it, saying it's not a realistic result, don't include that, then it will still go into your work file so that you can see that it was there at some point. All right, so what we're looking at here is full BAS. Right now I have it set to exclude it based on the percentage of the total value of those properties in that data set, and I have it set to 30%. So basically what this means is any result that's over 30% positive, or that could also be, if I had this unchecked, that could be under negative 30%. So if 30% was, let's say, $100,000, then anything below negative 100,000 would be excluded, and anything above positive $100,000 would be excluded if 30% is 100,000. So that's what that means. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on, so we're excluding negatives. And just to give you a more clear idea of what we mean by percentages, so when we say 30%, we're saying the full bath could account for up to 30% of the value of the property is essentially what that's saying. We have examples up here if you want to read that, but basically that's probably really high. And so you might want to say, okay, my bathrooms cannot account for more than 10% of the total value of the property. So now if I do that, I leave it how it is, I hit done. And by the way, this is where if you want to save it to your template so it remembers that into the future, next time you use that template, you click yes. If you only want to change that setting for this one particular session you're in, then you hit no. It'll save it for this session, but not for your template. And now check out full BAS. We should see that all those really high numbers are gone. So now it's kind of zoomed in, and we're only looking at those results between, I think it was $7,000 and $15,000. All those really high ones are now gone. I don't have to look at them, but you can hover over this little, we call it the exclude icon, and you can see in here, now we're excluding right here. It says user excluded result, $63,000. User excluded result, $48,000. That was Thielsen regression on the neighborhood data set. So everything is in here, so you can see exactly why certain results are not included in the widget here. And I just want to show you one other thing. You can also change this to a dollar amount. So you can say, okay, anything that's over $20,000 I want to exclude. And again, if I had that turned off, so it also includes negatives, that means anything that's less than negative 20,000 will not be shown as well. Now, if I hit done, don't save it, it's going to recalculate that. And it should look pretty much the same. I don't think it'll actually change anything. There we go. So whether you want to use dollars or a percentage, you can do either one and set it up on that screen. Okay, now I'm going to show you one other way that you can limit what you see. So I could go in and change those settings for lot size and get rid of all these ones that are really high. Or instead of doing that, I can just go in and use the constraint slider here. And that's what we call this top slider bar here. We have one for the low and one for the high. So I can remove these, saying these are just way too high, not reasonable, I don't want to include them. When you gray them out, that's the same as you telling Synapse, I do not want to place any weight or consideration on these results. I'm not considering them relevant to the analysis. I only want to look at these. And so now if I wanted to, I could also exclude some as being too low. Like, let's say I want to do that. Like, those are too low, not reasonable. These are too high. So I can exclude them that way by graying them out. And then lastly, if you want to just completely remove this grayed out area and zoom in on the white area right here where of the things you are giving weight to, then you just hit this little scissor icon, the snipping icon. And now it cut that out, and I can do the same with the lows. And it kind of zooms in on the area that you do want to give weight to, making it maybe a little bit easier for you to go and choose your adjustment or see right where things are lining up. And if you decided, you know what, I do want those low results in here, then now this icon is called the reset icon. I can reset the low constraint, and that just pops all those low ones right back in there. The high ones are still gone until I hit this, but the low ones are now back in there as results. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the high numbers back in there because I want to show you one more thing. So let's say I decided, you know what, this is $3 a square foot for my lot size adjustment is good. I feel good about that. I hit done. And let's say you don't constrain anything out or exclude anything. Then here is how the comments look that Synapse will create for you. And by the way, this is totally optional. You don't have to use this feature. But if you do use the comments feature, look at what happens here. So we have the lot size adjustment was developed at $3 per square foot. The results, based on all adjustment methods that were calculated and considered relevant, provide an adjustment range from 7 cents to $20, basically. Now that's a really large range, and it also, you can have it put in there exactly what methods were used. And by the way, this is all customizable. If you want your comment to be a lot shorter, maybe something like that, you can customize it with these checkboxes in here. So you can go in there and do that as you want to. And then one other setting I want to show you that we actually just added is if you wanted to always add at the end of your lot size comment a specific comment, you can click where it says add additional comment and just say whatever you want to say, something like that, and then hit done. And now it's always going to add that comment onto the end of the lot size comments that it dynamically creates. You can, of course, edit it, get rid of it, change it however you want to, and you're good to go. So now back to this, what I was showing you is that is a really large range. However, because it's talking about what you considered relevant, then you can modify that and make it look a lot cleaner as you'd want it to based on the constraints that you set up. So if we go back to lot size, if I constrain out all these really high ones and maybe some of those low ones, then I can go and look at the comments. And now it says the adjustment range is from $2.28 up to $3.43, a much, much tighter range. And it also adjusts what methods you're using to arrive at the results that you considered relevant. So that updates on the fly as well. And again, you can snip that out if you want to. And either way, whether you gray it out or you snip it out, Synapse is considering it something that you are not placing any weight on, and so your comments will remain the same, whether it's snipped out or grayed out. Okay, so that's pretty much that. And now, of course, that feeds into why you might only have a few results. If you excluded them, like in the settings I was showing you in the beginning, then they won't show up here. But also, another reason why you may have only a few results is in the case of this example right here, where I'm trying to get an adjustment for whether the community is gated or not. I have this one really low one, and then I have a few up here in the $20,000 or $30,000 area, and nothing else. You see I have no blue dots or orange dots. So why are those not there? Well, we can hover over this exclude icon, and we can go and look. So For example, regression on the sales grid or competing properties, it says all properties were the same. Basically, there were no properties that were in a gated community, so it could not calculate anything. So that's why the results aren't there. It doesn't mean that Synapse is doing anything wrong. It just means that based on the data you uploaded, it can't possibly calculate it. And the same if there aren't enough pairs to actually, right here, for example, if there aren't enough pairs to calculate anything, then it's not going to do that. And we do require a minimum of 2 pairs in order to show a result here for the matched pair analysis. Okay, I think that covers everything. So just make sure you go and use the settings here and exclude result settings to go and customize things so you don't have to deal with looking at results that you don't want to see that you're automatically going to consider irrelevant. That's definitely going to help your session in Synapse go a lot quicker. And don't forget to use the constraint slider as well so that your comments will be updated based on what you considered relevant. All right, thanks everybody for watching.